Welcome back everyone, and it's time to go balls deep. Today we are talking about Boruto Chapter 60, which means it's that time of the month again. No, let's switch it up with a bit of culture. Shout out to all our Asian fans. We appreciate you supporting us. Yo दोस्तों, जो भी दोस्ते हैं मेरे इंडिया और पाकिस्तान से, मोहब्बत के शुक्रिया. हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें, लाइक और दोस्तों के साथ शेयर करना. Anyways, looking at the cover page, I could only think of this clip. This child being potentially stronger than Naruto and Sasuke rubs a lot of people the wrong way. Just look at him. And on top of that, he's only 6 years old, I think. This is because some people feel like they came out of nowhere with no training but are gifted everything on the table like it's freaking Christmas.
I think I can smell shite.
But of course, we understand why Boruto is exploring this theme, as we explained many times before in our videos. It's because the ninja ideology of training and working hard to gain selflessness and ninshu is foiled by the ideals of Kara and Otsutsuki thinking power is absolute. Through the characters such as Jiraiya, Pain and Naruto, we learned that pain and going through hardships is what makes us human, as we can share these burdens, experiences and be held responsible with what we do with that power, with what we go through in life. Therefore, the training that the new Team 7 will experience and the suffering that they will go through gives them the will of fire being passed down in some sort of way. Whereas Kara, they don't think this idealistic attitude means anything due to technology and power being bestowed upon them handed for free. One could argue this message is quite diluted, with most members of Kara being introduced and written off so quickly in the manga without any meaning or challenging backstories which would make us care.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
But we know for sure that all of us as a community, by the time we get to the time skip, the story will make us believe in Boruto, Sarada, Mitsuki and Kawaki to be the people that would make ninjas prevail, just as Naruto and Sasuke started to believe. The anime will of course have to fix this issue that some may be too afraid to admit. For example, the anime episodes of the fight with the new Team 7 against Boruto, look, it was absolutely fire! However, Boruto's anime backstory and goal means nothing to Team 7. If you truly break it down, Boruto's desire of a dream world with the infinite Tsukiyomi doesn't counter any of the philosophies the characters bear. He's only a hurdle for them to overcome to bring Naruto back. They don't actually care about what he represents and who he is as a character, so this leads to the audience not being invested as well. Team 7 were ignorant of anything Boruto represents and what he believes in, unlike what we saw in Naruto, where the main villains highlighted a dark contrast of a society that they live in, always showing the yin and yang to the protagonist, where both the characters and the audience could relate with what they were stating. Take a look at Shikamaru vs Hidan, where it metaphorically demonstrated what it means to be a king, contrasted with Hidan's selfish desire for immortality with his religion Joshin. Or even take a look at a greater example, Naruto vs Pain being self-explanatory, where Pain exposed the idealistic nature of Naruto being untrue, where the politics caused destruction and human nature has caused a cycle of hatred that continues. This is what Boruto lacks. Now don't take this criticism the wrong way. Of course, all of us want Boruto to reach its maximum potential now that the anime is getting a lot better. The anime recently is superior to the manga, so this is one criticism that I think needs to be fixed, where everyone will start to understand, oh wait a second, all the Kara members have a backstory. One of the best aspects of Naruto were the villains, where we understood why they became villains and what philosophy they represent, so Kara needs to do that in a similar way. Let's admit it. Do you guys agree? Let me know in the comment section below. So starting off Boruto chapter 60, we find Sai, Shikamaru and Ibiki having a meeting discussing the black studded belt technique that Code uses, concluding that it has some kind of marking on it at random locations, which must result in Code's unique ability. Shikamaru reveals that Code can transfer between his claw marks instantly, kinda like how Minato Namikaze's flying thunder god works. So as long as he marked a location beforehand, he can go back and forth whenever he wants. Hence how he can go between the dimensions where the Ten-Tail resides, even without any special space-time ninjutsu like you would normally need. Code's technique seems to be even more powerful than Minato's flying Raijin. Firstly, it doesn't require as much chakra as his did, since Code has some scientific nature to it, whilst Minato's needed a lot of training and chakra control. Code's technique cannot be removed like Minato's, since in comparison, Minato uses a seal and kunai which can be taken off by an opponent. Minato's are also more difficult to position and need accuracy for them to be effective. Code's version also allows him to move through dimensions freely and pick up people through them, and they are extremely long lasting. To put it into perspective, Minato with the flying Raijin destroyed 1000 ninjas in the Third War, which made him gain his notorious reputation. So to Code, ordinary ninjas like Konohamaru would literally be called Trashimaru and die in one blow.
Know your fucking place, trash.
So going back to Boruto chapter 60, according to Sai, despite not finding any claw marks inside the village, 4 were found on the outer walls, but they are not sure how long they have been there. He then states that the preparations against Code need to be made should he appear in the village. Shikamaru thinks that the 4 marks that have been found are probably just decoys to throw them off. Ibiki mentions that more claw marks have been reported at other villages as well, but they're unable to confirm if they were from Code himself. Shikamaru responds saying, "Bruh, how is dealing with one man harder than dealing with a whole Kara organization, despite the combined efforts from all the villages together?" This pretty much also explains why Code had so much information on Naruto and Sasuke before they even knew who he was. He has the perfect ability to sneak up on any village and be a spy. Like, I was thinking about this shit, right? Jiraiya would be very jealous of this man's power, because we all know what he would do if we're going to all the other villages, you know what I'm saying? Moving on, Sai states that they were able to capture and interrogate some outer members of Kara, but weren't able to get any info out of them, since they just seem to be the typical NPC soldier, meaning that they've got no choice but to follow up on the claw mark leads. One thing they know for sure is that Code's ultimate target is Naruto, Sasuke and Boruto, the ones who took out the man he simped for, Ishiki Otsutsuki. We then move over to Kawaki, who appears to be chilling on top of Naruto's head at the Hokage monument, watching over Sai, Shikamaru and Ibiki's conversation. When he looks over, he notices the ninjas assigned to monitor him, but says nothing about them. But obviously he's feeling lonely and bothered, just like Naruto did in his childhood. Meanwhile, back in the lab, Amado and Sumire, still in the same moment as we left them last time, which was in Boruto chapter 59, when Sumire asks what Amado meant by restoring Kawaki's karma and what he intends to do with him. Amado replies, whilst he isn't exactly trying to hide it, he doesn't plan on revealing something personal to someone who isn't directly involved, but he assured Sumire he has no intention on betraying Konoha. Obviously Sumire was still getting red imposter vibes, but couldn't go Phoenix Wright mode and shout objection. We then get a wider view of the lab, and she spots a pod-like casket with something or someone inside, which is reminiscent of the ones which house Delta's other cyborg bodies. She finally asks what Amado is working on and the contents of the container, but Amado completely swerves the question and asks if she was gonna stay out of his way and leave him be. Sumire asks him a second time whether or not he was gonna answer her question, but Amado just takes another puff from the cigar, gets his high and shit, and states he has no intentions of betraying Konoha once again, rather he intends the opposite and wants to help them. This confuses Sumire and even us, to be fair.
I'm confused!
Amado states that he has already talked about this with Katasuke, the genius scientist of Konoha. He plans on exchanging this technology to the village in return for some accommodation, further adding that this thing will become a strong ally for the village. Therefore, you guessed it, confirming balls deep prediction jutsu. Now, Sumire stares at the pod again and we get a view of inside the pod of a silhouette, but it's distorted. We can only assume Amado is making another cyborg that will help combat Code. We have to remember that back in chapter 44, Amado told Kashin Koji that he has the cell fragments and digitized data aggregate to be used by Konoha's equipment. Initially, we all theorized that Amado was going to replicate the cloning of Jiraiya, as Kashin Koji would be sacrificed in his battle against Sasuke. Amado doesn't know that Kashin Koji has survived. However, honestly, it's as likely that this new test tube baby will just be another super strong cyborg. Personally, we still need the answers to how Amado created Kashin Koji with Jiraiya's cells, and if he will replicate that and bring back more amazing shinobi from the past, like Shisui or Itachi Uchiha. Like, think about this shit. If this man could bring back Jiraiya from the dead by gaining his cells when he was at the bottom of the ocean, where Kabuto even admitted he couldn't get them in the original Naruto manga when he did his Edo Tensei, there are endless possibilities for what Amado can do. The number one strongest power in this series is, after all, you guessed it, anime bullshit science. So remember, study putter, don't get beef for bastard, get your A's and study guys, just like I did to get my degree.
Oh, okay.
But make sure to let us know who you think is going to be the cyborg. The hair does look like Delta's, to be fair, but we are excited to see what will be revealed. And when it does, we will talk about it, so you must hit the notification bell to stay updated with all our content. Smash the like button since we got another video coming up about why Sarada will be the next Hokage after Naruto. And I would also like to thank everyone buying our merch. You can get 15% off our Naruto and Boruto merch by using the code being displayed to you right now. The link will be in the description and pinned comment. The scene switches to Code, Ida, Bug, and Damien in the snow again. Damien is still being a brat and is trying to ride on Code's back, but Code can barely hold himself up with his hand on his knees and the dude is sweating bricks. Code's like, bruh, how long you gonna be up with this shit, cause you're annoying me to no end right now. And Damien basically saying, you're tired already, little bitch? You need to lift, bro. This is pathetic. Code asks Ida what the hell is up with her brother. This guy's got ADHD, but she's like, just play nice with the kids, and he just agrees because, oh, by the way, he's also a simp for the girl he's fell in love with her because that's her power. Simp! Yeah, that's her special ability where anyone, you know, bruh, Naruto needs to watch out because if he meets this girl, Hinata's gonna drop them hands, you know, come out of retirement from being a ninja and bust his ass. You know, this bitch makes you fall in love with you instantly. Meanwhile, Bug is trying to walk away from them all because he's been kinda weirded out and intimidated by these crazy ass bastards since they were introduced. But Damien takes notice and leaps from Code to his next victim, landing on top of him and headbutting his face. Damien's like, where were you headed off to, you bucker? Why are you being so mean to me?
Why do you gotta be such a sassy bucker?
It's been so long since we have seen each other. But Bug is grunting and he's groaning, thinking to himself that he can't stand this kid, when suddenly Code uses his belt no jutsu and gives some discipline to the child. Just how I experienced when I was a kid. Yo, I'm joking. I know a lot of you can relate to that shit. Let me know in the comments, bro, by typing, we understand, ABD, we understand. So, of course, Code's technique doesn't hit Damien and instead reflects onto him, with the small sections of his belt being stuck to Code himself. Damien's like, what the hell just happened? Leading Code to believe that Damien's ability may activate regardless of him being aware of his surroundings or not, which is completely busted. Code then brings a little piece of his belt into his right hand, resulting in his hand reaching out to the belt on the ground. He grabs Bug and pulls him towards him through the goddamn belt. since he's dimensional and all, showing off his ability more and explaining that he is the only one who can move freely and go as he pleases with his technique, but it's also doable to bring someone else with him. This brings a devilish smile to Damien's face, and Bug thanks Code, but Code reassures him that he only wanted to scope out Damien's reflection ability and display his own power. Damien says that he liked it and thought it was cool, but he still seems to have a slightly mischievous look on his face. Code asks Damien to help him more about his power, and he begins to, but Ida is like, boy, if you don't shut your mouth, I'll burn now.
Shut your stupid...
Anyway guys, I'll be passing the video on to Harrison now. Remember, Shonen Central has joined ABD. Please give him a warm welcome as he will discuss the rest of the chapter and our analysis on what exactly is going on.
Code takes this as a sign of distrust, but Ada says that she already explained it thoroughly to him before, and that's the only explanation that he needs for now. She says that since they just met, it's gonna take time for her to show him everything. Code questions if they are concealing their powers and not telling him, but Ada neither confirms nor denies it. Damon explains that he's cool with telling Code, but he's gonna have to listen to Ada anyway. And then as Naruto and Kawaki finally arrive back home, Kawaki is greeted to a huge banquet hosted by the rest of his family. Kawaki, who is surprised by such a warm welcome, asks what is going on, where Naruto responds saying that it's about goddamn time they finally celebrated Kawaki's introduction to the family now that all of the things with Ishiki have been dealt with. Understandably, Kawaki is speechless. Great food, wonderful family, and most importantly, Vaz-kun is back in action.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The vase which Kawaki had broken back when he first arrived is now hosting a lovely collection of flowers, symbolizing that Kawaki is finally whole again. Throughout Boruto, the vase and Kawaki's lives have run parallel to one another in terms of their integration with the Uzumaki family. As soon as Kawaki arrived, the vase was smashed into multiple small pieces, but as time passed, Kawaki began integrating himself into the family piece by piece, proving his bonds to those around him by saving the likes of Himawari, Naruto, and of course, Boruto. And now that Ishiki is defeated and Kawaki is officially part of the family after his welcoming party, he, the vase, and now the unbreakable family bond has been pieced back together. Kawaki says how they shouldn't have bothered using it as it's still full of cracks, but Himawari says how it only makes it better and that it's even more precious now. This again acts as a metaphor for Kawaki's current situation. He's been put back together, however the cracks still show. The cracks being his desire for power, which, as we know, Amado has been using to manipulate Kawaki into getting another karma bestowed upon him. It wouldn't be far-fetched to presume that later on down the line, the vase will crack once again once Kawaki's new karma is passed on to him. Moving back to the chapter, however, Boruto gives a gift to Kawaki, his precious shinobi headband. Kawaki, who is in complete shock, initially refuses the gift, saying that he couldn't accept it as it's a precious item of Boruto's and that he's technically not a shinobi yet either. Boruto mentions how he's on his way to becoming a shinobi now that he's begun his training, but this headband is much more than just that. It's a symbol that Kawaki is acknowledged by Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki as precious friends of theirs. After all, Boruto still has Sasuke's headband, so he has no use for his own banged up one right now. Boruto says how once Kawaki qualifies as a shinobi and gets his own headband, he can return Boruto's to him. However, we know that in the future, and even now to some degree too, he grows to hate the shinobi way and believes it's an outdated religion. This scene right now in the manga is likely setting up a heartwarming scenario for during the climax of Boruto vs Kawaki in the time skip, as once Boruto finally proves to Kawaki that the shinobi way is the correct one and his search for power isn't right, Kawaki will then pass Boruto's headband back to him, similar to Naruto and Sasuke's heartwarming moment during their final fight where their blood stains held hands. Kawaki is left speechless by this act of pure kindness as he then puts the headband on and BAM! Kawaki with the drip, boy! Ooh!
That's why he's the GOAT!
Now, understandably, everybody has mixed reactions to his new look, with Boruto straight up saying it doesn't suit him and that he feels sorry. Whereas Hinata and Himawari on the other hand say that it looks quite good. And then Naruto with the ultimate fence-sitting response of saying that it'll grow on you. Kawaki, however, disagrees, saying how it makes him feel like he's not convinced by it and that he feels set up, which further proves his growing disdain towards the shinobi practice. He moves his newly acquired headband down to around his neck, which Himawari says is how some other ninja wear it. This of course includes her mother, Hinata, for example. After staring at it for a while, he looks back at everyone with an unconvincing look in his face. We then switch to Kawaki sitting in Naruto's home office, not yet wearing the headband, gazing into the Konoha symbol. Naruto tells him that this is where he belongs in the eyes of him and their family. Naruto will do everything he can to make Kawaki feel loved and safe, just like everyone else in the village, as to him, they are all family. And if at any point that peaceful bond is broken, Naruto will acknowledge that he has failed as the Hokage. Now again, this scene right here hits so much harder than it usually would because we know what's to come. The worst case scenario Naruto speaks of, where the peace of mind is disrupted, is exactly what is going to happen because of Kawaki in the time skip. Konoha will be destroyed and Naruto is nowhere to be seen. The question is, however, is Naruto bringing this pending doom to his village on himself? Is Naruto's trustworthy personality and forgiving nature actually deluding him? It's clear as day that despite what he says, Amado is plotting something, and is plotting something bad. And yet Naruto is letting it all happen in his so-called peace-filled village. The chapter ends with Kawaki coming to terms that Konoha is the place he belongs, and that he doesn't need karma as there's still one more thing he can try and do to protect Konoha and Naruto, and that is to try and fulfill his promise to Boruto from chapter 58, and instead try and conform to the shinobi way and push himself to train harder and harder so that he can become the best shinobi he can be and protect the village he loves that way. Once again showing that Boruto and Kawaki have the same ultimate goal, to protect the people they love. Where with Boruto it includes everyone in Konoha, including his father, whereas Kawaki's love extends from Naruto, his adopted father, to his family, and then Konoha. Kawaki, similar to Naruto when he was a child, is battling the thought process of feeling unwanted and having no place to belong. Having random people stare at you and talking under their breaths would make anybody feel uncomfortable, let alone someone who went through constant abuse towards their self-worth. We see with this Kawaki thinking back to Ishiki's comments on the fact that he's being used and there is no place for him in Konoha. He was slowly accepting the reality that Ishiki had portrayed. That was until Naruto came and forcefully brought him home, telling Kawaki that he is his stupid son. When Kawaki got home, the mood completely changed, where Kawaki has a family and isn't alone. He has a home now, with parents, a brother, and a sister. Even though he questions if Konoha is where he belongs, the fact that Naruto and his new family are here gives him reason to try and be accepted. To do this, he wants to do what he can to protect Konoha. To link everything going on back to the future where we see Kawaki and Boruto clash, it is clear that the extension of Kawaki's love for Naruto doesn't completely encompass what Naruto himself is trying to protect. Kawaki is being pushed to embody a new way of life, different from the one he had lived before Naruto took him in. From being a team player, training and fighting as a shinobi, to finding a place where he belongs. This new person that Kawaki is being molded towards is dependent on Naruto's existence. If that existence is compromised, it will push Kawaki to his limits, who will end up dropping everything he worked towards and do whatever he must to secure his only meaningful living, which is Naruto. Kawaki's love for Naruto will drive him into making the hard choices which contradicts everything Boruto and the Konoha shinobis believe in. Having karma in the end only reinforces this, as at the end of chapter 60, Kawaki seemed as though he really wouldn't depend on the karma. So something must have forced him to change his mind, accepting Amado's offer, Either that or a new Otsutsuki bestowed him one. There is still the idea that Kawaki was bestowed Boruto's own karma out of an emergency, but honestly it seems more and more likely that his karma will be given to him by Amado. We believe that Kawaki will lose all hopes in the Shinobi Way due to its failure to protect Naruto. Naruto will be heavily injured to a near-death state. To protect him, Kawaki will send and seal him in another dimension. The mystery of the Otsutsuki pair from chapter 35 is still yet to be revealed. Also, we know nothing about the Otsutsuki home planet and their patriarch, who will more than likely be the Otsutsuki god. This threat will push everybody to take drastic measures, ultimately causing one of the biggest clashes to happen. Kawaki will end up going rogue against the Shinobi Way, in which Boruto will try and stop him. However, Kawaki stating how he will send Boruto to where he sent the 7th shows us that he has not completely lost it, as Kawaki didn't threaten to kill Boruto, like Sasuke did with Naruto when he went rogue. Overall guys, let us know what you guys thought of this chapter in the comment section down below. Also be sure to check the description where you'll find all the links to our socials and our merch. Thank you all for watching, and bye bye.